Guys, today's topic would be about Linux basics. So, let me tell you before the history of Linux. Before entering into this Linux class, I just wanted to tell the history of Linux. So, earlier, around 1990s, the early stage of 1990 or 1989, there used to be a operating system called Unix. Okay, Unix was designed and maintained by community people. So it's an open source operating system. Everybody can download the Unix for free. They can install on their systems or desktops and they can use it. Okay. Now around 1991, 1992, from Unix, okay, Linux has developed. They took the Unix code, okay, and they developed it into Linux. Now Linux was developed by one of the guy called Linus Torvalds, and it is given for community. And this Linux is also open source. So as it is also open source, most of the people they even took the Linux code, the entire operating system code, and they started designing their own operating system. Okay, basically, I want to talk about two flavors of Linux, or I can say the best word is two distributions of Linux that are very famous now. One is Debian based Linux system and the other is RPM based Linux system. Okay, now RPM based Linux system, example Red Hat RHEL. Here RHEL stands for Red Hat Enterprise Linux. Okay, and the Debian based distribution, I'll say one operating system, Linux operating system, that is Ubuntu. Okay, these are the most famous of different distributions of Linux that was widely used by most of the people around the world. Okay, so in your mind, just keep that earlier there used to be a Unix. Okay, from Unix, Linux was designed. Okay, and as Linux is an open source, okay, some communities took that and they designed two different distributions of Linux. One is Debian based Linux and RPM based Linux. Example, RPM based Linux Red Hat, Debian based Ubuntu. Okay, I want to talk much about this Unix, as this is the Linux side of Unix. They are developing different distributions, and under these distributions they are developing different flavors. When I say flavors means, for example, RPM based, there are some more like CentOS operating system, and there is one more Fedora. Okay, these are all different flavors of RPM based distribution Linux. Okay, now this is one side of Linux that is developing, okay, on Unix side. I'll keep this entire thing in red zone, that this is the one side. So there is another side of Unix. This Apple, okay, Apple guys, they took the Unix and they designed Mac OS X. Okay, actually on the Macintosh, okay, operating system, the base they used is Unix, not the Linux. People say, okay, even on the background of Mac laptops, they are Linux. No, it is not Linux. They are on the back end of Macintosh operating system. They are using Unix operating system. Okay, commands are similar. Like for changing the directory, use that command cd. Okay, but the operating system is different. This is one Macintosh side, and you know the other side of not Linux. The other computer of Linux is Windows. Okay, you know under Windows you'll find different again desktops and servers. Okay, now talking much about this Linux.
Karthik, where does Solaris and AOS and AX and ZOS fit in?
Solaris and see, again that comes under different distributions of Linux. Solaris is not a flavor of Debian or either RPM. It is a different distribution of Linux. Okay, that Solaris was earlier used to people used to use much like in 6 7 years ago, but now the usage of Solaris has been decreasing because Solaris, what he did is, this guy, he designed the hardware, servers, and he installed the operating system Solaris on it, and he started selling this to the customers, and this is how he made most of the customer familiar to use the Solaris operating system. But nowadays this main flavors of Linux, like distributions of Linux like Debian and RPM based, is crossing this Solaris. It's been becoming what we say, it's been overcoming the usage of Solaris because these flavors can run on any physical devices. Okay, whatever it is, if you have least 200 MB of RAM, at least 8 GB of storage, this can run. Okay, this Debian based and RPM based operating systems. I mean the flavors of like Ubuntu and uh, Red Hat or CentOS can run on this. That's the reason I can say that any atomic system, when I say atomic system, whatever the system it is, either it is a small chip, okay, or either it is a very big server with thousands of RAM and like 256 virtual CPU, 128 virtual, very big compute, whatever it is, these operating systems can run. But when it comes to Solaris, it's been evolving now that most of the companies are not using. See, because Solaris has restrictions, it is not supporting in much of the virtualization VMs. You can see on the market there are a lot of high demanded virtual hypervisor softwares came like VMware, okay, Xen, but most of the Solaris flavors, when I say most of the Solaris flavors means Solaris versions, previous versions, uh, are not supporting this uh, virtualization VMs. That's the reason it is extending, it is going down in the market. So I don't want to talk about Solaris. Now talking much about this Debian and RPM based Linux, I want to talk. mostly about every Linux system, whether it is Debian or RPM. This community guys has a desktop versions, okay, and server versions with GUI. GUI stands for Graphical User Interface, and basic server version. Okay, under this desktop version, you can install this on mostly on your laptops, desktops. Okay, if you are not much affordable to go for Linux, sorry, Windows licenses, then we prefer always use go with for Linux desktop version. It is free and it can be it even though it will have the GUI for this desktop version also. Okay, and the server version, some people who are starting their career first time with Linux, what I recommend is have your server, Linux server. You can build your own servers like web server or database server or application server, anything on the Linux, mail server, anything on the Linux system. But you start your career with server GUI because you'll have some GUI, graphical user interface, where you can see everything on the monitor and you can do. When it comes to basic server version, it is completely command line. Okay, it is a CLI mode. When you power on, you won't get any UI, just a little blink of a dash will you can see all. For this, you need to be an advanced user of Linux. You need to have an advanced user experience with the Linux. Then only you can work on command line mode of Linux system. And we recommend this command line mode for building this all the servers. See, on the world, I can say that more than 62% of websites on the world are hosted on Linux operating system. Okay, now most of the people are using only CLI mode of Linux. Why? Because you'll have the physical box or VM. On that, you install the operating system Linux, whatever it is. Okay, and that you'll have your application. On the application, you'll have your code. Now, this code is serving to clients with the help of this application, right? Via some URLs or anything, something. Now, your physical box resource has to provide some capacity like memory or CPU utilization to your operating system to run it. Okay, if you have desktop GUI operating system, okay, it consumes a lot more resource of your physical when compared with normal command line server model of operating system of Linux. Why? Because desktop needs to have all that windows, themes, it has to load all the templates. So it's like I can say that if you install CLI mode of Linux, you can reduce nearly 60% of load on your comparing with this 100% usage on GUI, you can reduce 60% of load on this resource of your physical box. And the other feature, other benefit of having CLI mode is even though hackers or whoever, if they log into your system, for them they don't have any GUI to take the remote desktop. Okay, it is completely CLI mode, and they should be familiar with the Linux and everything because on Linux everything is a file. There is statement that on Linux everything is a file. Okay, you load the file, That file calls the other files and it will load and it will deal with the hardware. It will boot the hardware and everything. Now I'll talk about this all the booting process and the basic commands in meanwhile. Talking much about this desktop and server versions between this Debian and RPM based systems. Okay, example in Debian, I told you one is Ubuntu, the famous operating system most of the people uses. Now this Debian, the present ongoing version is something around 16 point, I think 04 or something. Exactly, I don't remember. So what he does is every now and then he releases different versions like 16.05, 16.06, 16.07, and then he goes to the entire version change like 17.00, 17.01. It is not such a way that he has to provide 0001 releases. He may release like directly 17.04. It depends upon the community guys. Okay, now for every major version change, here the major version change is 16 to 17 is the major version change, and the minor version changes are 04 to 05, 05 to 06 are the minor versions. So for every major version change, Ubuntu will release a stable version. What is the stable version? Assume if Ubuntu says, hey, 16.04 is the stable version. Now for that stable version, Ubuntu, you will have LTS support. LTS support stands for long term support. Okay. Now you can hear on Windows when you're trying to install Windows XP or what people say, hey, Windows XP is expired. Windows is not going to support your XP operating system. He's not going to give you any patch or Windows updates for your XP operating system, right? Why? Because Windows has stopped the XP operating system. It is not supporting for that particular operating system anymore. Similarly, Ubuntu also will release the stable versions and it will give us for the stable versions LTS support. LTS supports is like they'll provide you for like 7 years support, like giving the updates and everything for that particular version, stable versions. Now talking about much about this RPM based Linux, I want to talk about RHEL. There is a community called Red Hat Enterprise Linux. This Red Hat guys, what they did first, they designed the Fedora operating system, and they gave this Fedora is an operating system from Red Hat only, and they gave this Fedora operating system mostly to schools and colleges for students and research purposes. Now this school or college people started using the Fedora operating system and they started reporting the bugs to Red Hat organization. Now Red Hat guys, they started fixing the bugs and they started even in Fedora releasing the stable versions. Okay, and from the bugs that was posted from all these users, college students and schools and research people, they designed one more operating system called CentOS, fixing all the bugs. And they gave this CentOS operating system to all the organizations for free. Now again people started using this and they started reporting bugs to Red Hat. Now again Red Hat fixed all the bugs and it is released one more flavor of Red Hat called RHEL. It fixed all the bugs from CentOS people users, whatever they reported, and they fixed. and they developed one more flavor of operating system of Linux called RHEL. RHEL stands for Red Hat Enterprise Linux. These guys has not given this operating system for free. They have started selling this operating system because it is an enterprise version. Enterprise versions are chargeable. See, he has used this CentOS and Fedora flavors of operating system as a base as a research for developing or designing a high bug error free operating system RHEL. Now, in our companies, we mostly use when we compare with Ubuntu, the Debian based operating system, and these are called RPM based operating systems, right? We can compare this Ubuntu with CentOS. These both are free, we can use it. Okay, now I want to talk much about CentOS and Ubuntu. Any doubts on this topic, guys?
No, bro.
Now, on the CentOS and Ubuntu, both are comes under Linux only, right? Okay, before talking much about Ubuntu and CentOS differences, I want to talk about Linux, how Linux operating system works. Okay, where exactly this Linux operating system would be on your computer? It will be everything will be on your hard disk, right? Everything on the hard disk it will be stored as files. Okay, now as you power on the power button of your CPU, what happens? Okay, on CPU you'll have the motherboard, right? This motherboard will have a separate processor. Okay, motherboard processor. On that processor it will have, you can find bootable source code. What this bootable source code does is, whenever you click the power on button, okay, it will boot your operating system. It will boot your operating system from where? From your hard disk. How? It will load the basic first bootable files, okay, of your hard disk. It will read the hard disk and it will load those first bootable files on your RAM memory, and then it starts booting your operating system. This one file calls the other file calls the other file, and so on. It will boot all the operating system files, and you'll have the up and running operating system working on your system. Okay, my agenda of saying is, you'll have the motherboard on the CPU, then you'll have find the processor. On the processor you'll have the source code that helps to boot your operating system which resided on the hard disk of your system. Okay, now how there are some layers and levels for booting the Linux system. There are some layers, or I can call levels, for booting the operating system of Linux. I can say boot levels or run levels, whatever it is. Run levels or boot levels. It starts from level 0 to level 6. Okay, level 0 to level 6. Let me write down that for you. Level 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Level 0 means they're saying system halt. System halt. What is a system halt? Means it does nothing. Halt means like statue. You say, hey, statue, right? To people, like halt means nothing. It is nothing. It does nothing. No activity of the system. Okay. When you boot your operating system at level 1, it will be booted as a single user mode. When you do does that, for example, sometimes on Windows operating system or Linux operating system, you see your system is not starting. It will ask, hey, can I load your operating system in safe mode? Safe mode, automatically what happens if that load in safe mode on the back end, that operating system will be loaded on single user mode. Okay. When you load your operating system on safe mode, okay, not all the entire operating system is loaded full-fledgedly. Only basic operating system is loaded. Okay. On Linux operating system, I can say that Linux operating system is a combination of some hundreds or thousands of packages. What are these packages? In Linux, you call every software as one package. Okay. In Linux, you will call every software as one package. That's the reason when you take Linux desktop operating system, you can find around nearly, this is not the exact count, some 2600 packages would be installed on Ubuntu desktop operating system. When you take Ubuntu command line server, basic server operating system, you'll install something around 600 only packages, because you're reducing the packages, you're reducing, you don't need all the GUI or blah 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 kind of thing, mail server, all everything you don't require on that CLI mode. Okay. Now I can say Linux operating system is nothing but a combination of some hundreds or thousands of packages. Okay. When you load your operating system in a single user mode, this single user mode will load only some rare packages which are prerequisites, or which are, it's like mandatory required to run your Linux system to start. Okay. Assume that in your operating system you'll have VLC player. So VLC player is also one package for your Linux operating system. For just loading the operating system, is that required that VLC has to be loaded? No, nothing. Only the system related packages will be loaded under single user mode. Okay. Next, coming to multi-user mode, level 2, it is a multi-user mode with no NFS. NFS stands for network file system. Okay. Here, this is, assume that your Linux operating system has some mounted network file systems. Okay, some mounted networks, like you'll have in Windows. I can say that sometimes you'll see E and F are mounted from different network file storages, or even sometimes some people load the entire operating system from the mounted file systems. What they do, they keep the entire operating system in a mounted file system to the physical box, and they try to load that operating system. Okay. Here in this case, even though Linux is uh, started, but it does not use the NFS file systems. When it comes to level 3, okay, here it is full-fledged multi-user, it is loaded. It is the basically this level 3, okay, run level we always load on the Linux system when compared with all the different 6 levels. Okay, when you power on your box, okay, the level 3 of run level is loaded first. If there is a problem, then you'll go to level 1. Okay, you change different things. If there is a problem, what you do, you reboot. You reboot means this is a level 6 for restarting the system. It means you are calling the level 6 files on the run level. Okay, basically guys, you may ask in the interview questions like, hey, on the run levels, by default, which level your operating system loads when everything is good. Then you have to say it loads multi-user level 3. Okay, it is a command line interface. Talking about user, fourth level 4 is a user definable. You can define anything on the level 4. You can customize it. It's up to you. Level 5 is multiple users with GUI. If you're using Linux system with desktop versions, then that can be loaded under level 5. And level 6 is for just reboot. If you're trying to restart the system, then you'll call the level 6 file of the run levels. Guys, whatever you do, you buy hard or anything, you have to remember all these levels and the usages, because most of the people ask questions from this only. When you go for interview, they'll ask the question like, what is run level 3, what is run level 4, how many run levels are there in Linux operating system. This is something about a overview of Linux run levels. Okay, now what are we talking? We're talking about, okay, how your Linux is loaded when you click on the power button, right? Now your bootable source code will call the run level file, and the run level file will call all this bootable operating system that is resided on the hardware HDD. Now even calling these run levels they'll call first. If you say, if you have loaded it in with multi-user mode, fifth one, multi-user with GUI. Now what it does, this run level will call the init files of operating system. First they'll call the init files. I'll tell you what are the init. Init stands for initial files. Okay, the first and foremost initial file what your source code that reside on the motherboard or your bootable kernel will call on operating systems. Again, there are 6 different. Let me tell you what is that. Not on levels. One second, guys. Okay, guys, I exactly forgot that word that is called bootloaders of Linux. Under bootloaders of Linux, Where is that list of all bootloaders of Linux? Yeah. So this is how your Linux operating system starts. First, it starts with BIOS. Okay. First, it loads the BIOS, the basic input and output systems. Okay. Here you can read the difference between what exactly BIOS and what it does. It performs the initial system checks and loads all the bootloader program files, and then second step it goes for MBR. MBR is a master bootloader that calls the grub. Okay, grub is nothing but grand unified bootloader that calls the kernel, and the kernel executes init files, and then init files executes the run levels. Okay, so BIOS calls MBR, MBR calls grub, grub calls kernel, and kernel calls init files, and then init file calls the run levels. On the run level, you can find here, you can are stored in the, you can find here directory etc/rc.d slash rc1.d 2.d. There are 6 different run levels that we have talked about. Now, what is the differences between all these 6 are here? From here you can see. I'll share you this link. Just go through that. On the chart session, I have shared you this link. Okay, try to go through that. What is kernel? What does that call? What is init? What does that call? Everything is well explained on this document. Now, talking much about this, after loading your operating system, okay, on this machine, now I want to talk much difference about this Debian and RPM based systems. On Linux, for installing the packages on Debian, you'll call apt-get. Here on Red Hat, you'll call the yum command. Okay, on Debian, mm, okay, this is one general difference. On the Red Hat, all the packages are installed through yum command. On the Debian, all the packages are installed to apt-get. As soon as what you can do, if you type apt-get install that package name, okay, now your debate, your system or your laptop or whatever it is, that system will communicate with repository. There is some servers in the world that is maintained by Debian. Okay, guys, this Ubuntu guys, okay, it will talk with that server and will try to find out this package on that server, and it will download that particular package and it will install and it will verify. Okay, it will search the package, either it is available on the repo. Repo is nothing but repository, available on the repository of Debian. Second, if it is available, it will download it. Third, it will install it. And finally, it will verify that installation. Similarly, in RPM also, when you type yum install any package name, assume that you are trying to install a package called VLC. So it will, what it does, your system will talk with server repository of CentOS, and it will download that particular VLC package, it will install and it will verify it. Okay, if you didn't find that particular package on the repository of this RPM or CentOS or Debian or this Red Hat based repositories, then what it does, see, who will maintain this repository servers? These are maintained by the community guys only. Okay, what they do, they'll keep all the softwares under that repository. Okay, all you need to do is you need to connect to that repository, you have to download it rather than downloading the softwares from different people. Hey, if you want to download VLC, go to VLC website and download. It's not required. Just here you can type yum install VLC. The latest version of that software will be downloaded from the repository and it will be installed on your system. And no, if you don't want that particular latest version of VLC, I want an old version of VLC. On that command, you can specify the version number also, VLC.2.4 hyphen 2.4. Okay, if this is not available on the repository, what you can do is you can visit your VLC website and you can download that particular version of software, or I can say package, as an RPM format. It's like VLC.RPM. On Windows, if you download some software, that will be downloaded as .exe, software name .exe, like VLC.exe or VLC.msi. Exe stands for executable, that is an executable file that can be installed and can be run on the Windows system. MSI stands for Microsoft Installer, that is a Microsoft Installer file that can be installed and executable on the operating system of Windows. But similarly, here on our Linux system, on Red Hat, you'll find the packages with .rpm format. RPM stands for Red Hat Package Manager. Okay, this can be downloadable on your Linux system and can be installed on your Linux RPM, only on RPM based Linux system, and can be run. Okay, that is what here he's saying on the image. On Red Hat, you can install .rpm packages. For Debian, you have to download .deb formatable packages, vlc.deb, here vlc.rpm. Okay, on Debian, every package is dpkg. Dpkg means pkg means package, D means Debian based package. And RPM, every package is RPM type extension, Red Hat Package Manager extension. This is a basic difference between RPM and device based systems. Here, these are again something in Debian systems. If you want to change the system file, system name, that you can be changed, you have to change the system name from these different files. You have to go to etc directory. Directory is nothing but folder. Under that, you'll find network directory, and you have to go to interface. There you have to change the system name. And here, after changing all the system names on these three different files of your system, if you restart the system, then it will, your system name will be changed. Here in Linux, you have to change in here three different paths on here. Let me go to this website. It is good. It is a slider. Okay, I think there is some video about this. I'll just share you this link also. Just go through this. Might this can help you to find much differences. Now, It's up to you whether you want to go with Debian or Ubuntu, so Debian based Ubuntu or RPM based Red Hat. You have to choose. Now, can we connect to one of the Linux system and we see the basic commands how that works? For that, what I'll do, I'll launch the one of the Linux system in AWS one and then I'll connect to that. Or for my on my laptop, I have Oracle VirtualBox hypervisor. I can launch one Linux instance also from here. Okay, here you can see I have CentOS 6.5 version. I'll start it. This virtual machine. It is loading. Guys, like you can see that when it is loading on the back end, it is loading all the different packages, okay, that are present in STD. Now it has crossed the boot levels. Next, it will show what are the package it is loading. Okay, it doesn't show here. Okay, localhost login. I don't know. Root. Okay. Now I connected to the Linux system with a user called root. This represents you are connected to this Linux system with a user root at the rate localhost. Local. I named this system as a localhost. If I want to change the system, okay, on here he said as he said for Red Hat. This is CentOS, right? CentOS comes under Red Hat. You have to change your system name on these three different files: etc sysconfig network and etc sysconfig resolve.conf. So I can CD stands for change directory. Guys, you can write it down or you can just remember. CD stands for change directory. We use this CD command for changing the different directories. Before changing the directory, first we don't know in which directory we are, in which folder you are. Okay. In Windows, you can say that from GUI. Right now, if I say I am in C program files, everything you can see, right? You are in right now. You are in the program files folder. This program files are folder is an parent folder of program files is C, and okay, this is how you say in Windows. But how in Linux? In Linux, you can say there is a command called you can list all the subdirectories of this main directory. Assume that in which folder you are right now you want to find out, you can type pwd. Pwd stands for present working directory. When you type this command pwd and enter, it will see right now I am in /root command. Okay, I'll tell you the basic directory structure of Linux. The basic directory structure of Linux consists of there will be a basic slash folder. Under that slash folder, you'll have some folders. Okay, like /etc. Okay, /var, /home, /root. Okay, here /home means this home is a folder name that is present under slash this slash. Okay, this is called the basic directory structure of Linux. Under this directory, you can have again multiple directories. Directories are nothing but folders, multiple folders. You can see basic directory structure of Linux. This is what. Okay. Under slash, you'll have slash bin, slash sbin, etc, dev, proc, var, temp, user. What these directories are used and what is designed for, everything you can see. A overview. Under slash bin, you'll have all the user binaries. Under slash sbin, you'll have all the system binaries. etc, all the configuration files like software configuration files or whatever the system configurations file, everything you'll file under slash etc folder. Under slash dev, device files, like assume that you have mounted some hard disk, okay, USB, all this can be found under slash dev. Okay, slash proc gives all the files. Under this you'll find different files that consist of all the system information or processor information. Slash var, where you can find different variable files. Slash tmp, temporary files you can store on slash tmp. For every different basic directory root structure, folders will have one purpose that they have designed it. Okay, now slash home, I want to talk about slash home. So whenever you create a standard users of Linux, like you right now are logged in with a user called root. That's the reason I was right now into slash root directory. Where is that slash root directory? It's not listed here. You can see when you type cd, this symbol, it takes wherever you are, it takes to your home directory. Home directory is nothing but for that particular user, that is the home directory. For my user root, slash root is a home directory. You can create more users with a command called user add space and the username. Assume I want to create a user called Raju. As soon as I click enter, it will create a user called user Raju. If nothing error is given, it means that Linux has accepted that command. It has created a user Raju. Now for that user, I have to create a password, right? So I'll type PASSWD space Raju. It means that I'm setting up a password for that user. Now he's asking, hey, changing password for that user Raju, what do you want to keep? Enter, please enter the new password for Raju. I'll keep the password as password for Raju. He's saying, hey, bad word, it has been a dictionary. No problem. Okay, now I have to set the password for Raju. If I want to switch my user to Raju, right now I am connected to Linux system as a root, right? You can see that's the reason, root at the red localhost. If I want to switch user, there is a command called su. Su stands for switch user. Okay, which user you want to switch, specify that username. Sorry. Now I switch it from root user to Raju user because root user is an it's like an very root. It's a root user will have all the permissions. It can do anything when compared with these normal users that I am creating now. All the Raju or Ravi, whatever the users I create, that comes under the standard users. Okay, these guys will have limited permissions on your operating system when compared with the root user. If I am switching from root user to standard user, Linux system will never ask for the password. But if I try to switch from standard user to root user, now Linux system will ask the password for that root user. I have to enter the password of that root. Then only it will allow me to switch to that. Now assume that from that normal standard user, if I'm trying to create a user Ravi, it will say, hey, you have do not permissions, you are denied, you are not a root user, and you don't have any permissions to create other users. It will say because only the root user will have all the permissions. So for root user, I have logged into root user, right? Now let me see what is my home directory of the root user. As soon as I enter this and go for present working directory, I can see that the home directory for that root user is slash home slash Raju. Okay, when you type a command ls, ls stands for list. all the files and folders on that particular directory Raju. There are no files and folders. I can create one file like nano is a text editor, okay, that is used to create file. I'll say nano hyphen test file name, enter. Nano is not there installed, or I can go vi text editor, vi test file name, because here nano is a package that is not installed on my Linux system. That's the reason it said nano command not found. When I say vi file system, I can write something on that file and I can save it. Okay, when you type now ls, you can see there is a file name called test file name. When you say ls-la, ls stands for list, hyphen ls stands for it talks about all the different information. It will provide all the information about that particular file system. On this ls folder, I have one file name called test file name, and the size of that file name is, it's 37 bytes. And when the created, the date, time, and who is the owner for that file, everything you can see from here. And this other things you can see like that bash rc. So it is dot bash rc or dot bash underscore profile dot bash underscore logout. Whenever you place dot in front of file, that file will be hidden. Okay, when you type list, it will not show. When you type ls-la, la stands for list. Okay, hidden files also. Now there are, you can see on this folder there are 3 hidden files dot bash rc. When you open that dot bash rc, there is some system related file that is, okay. Now this is how you start the basic commands like change directory to home, ls change directory to slash ls. Okay, if you want to deal with some system devices, go to dev ls. Here you can see these are all the system related devices information. Under this, if you type sda, sda1, sda2, or SDA means the hard disk that you attach to for the system. One hard disk. Under that hard disk, you have two partitions, SDA1, SDA2. If you attach another physical or virtual hard disk to the system, it will say SDB. If you attach one more, it will say SDC. And SDC1, SDC2 are partitions that you created under that SDC volume. CD dot dot pulls to previous directory. Okay. Right now I'm in last home directory, right? Slash. Rather than that, there is no previous directories. What else? Yes, anything you can ask. Hey Karthik, how do you do this in Linux that we does in Windows? You ask me, I'll try to do that. Okay, installing packages, as I told you. Yum, install the package VLC, type VLC, just enter. Okay, he's saying, hey, as you're a Raju user, you don't have any permissions to do this. You need to be root, okay? What I'll do, I'll switch to root user and I'll try to install the package yum. Yum install and the package VLC. Now it is under backend, it is trying to communicate with your repository. EPL stands for extra enterprise package Linux. It is different. Now it is searching on the repository and now the package is downloading VLC package. Right now it is not downloading the VLC package, it is updating the EPL repository. These are all different packages here. You can see updates, different thing. Now here saying no package VLC available. Why? Right now I want to check whether this VM is connected to internet. Ping google.com. Yeah, it is connected to internet. That's the reason I was getting the ping request back. VLC is not available on my repository. Okay, what I'll do, yum install any other package like VLC star. Maybe it is with different name. No. Any package that we can install on Linux. Yum install. I can install some package. What? Guys, name any software that you want to install on Linux. I'll install a web server, HTTP. HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. When you see every website, that website works on two protocols. Either one is HTTP. This is right now working on HTTP. The other is HTTPS. The green color indicates that is secure connection. See here, there is an HTTPS is to slash slash. Okay. Now, HTTPD is a software called Apache. Okay, when you type this, it will install a software called web server software called Apache. Now it is see, it is downloading the packages. Okay, it is saying before downloading, hey, along with the HTTPD package, your system needs some dependent packages. Here, your system needs some dependent packages. That is APR, APR hyphen util, APR hyphen. These are the dependent packages. Do you want me to download these dependent packages along with your main package? It is asking. Is that okay? And all the download size would be 1.1. Okay, after installing that 1.1 MB of downloads, you'll find that installation size would be 3.7 MB. Is that okay? When you type yes, it will start downloading the package. Now you can see here it is downloading the packages. It downloaded all the 6 packages. Now it is installing the packages. Now it is verifying the packages. Now it is saying, hey, install HTTPD along with it also install some dependent packages also. That is what complete. So I installed some software called HTTPD, the web server software. If I want to start that software, there is a command called service. If I want to check whether the software is running or not, status httpd, sorry, service httpd status is saying httpd is stop. If you want to start that, remove that last word status and type it start. Now it will start that particular httpd. Now here you can see now status httpd is running with PID 1496. What is this PID means? Processor ID. For every package that you run, Linux will create one processor ID for that. As on Windows, you can see mm, on Task Manager, for every process that is running, Windows also provides one PID for that processor. See, for Chrome 6656 PID. Similar, Linux will also provide one processor ID for each and every package that is running. Okay, you can see all the packages what it is running. In Windows you have seen like Task Manager. If you want to see here, there is a command called top. When you type the command top, it will list all the packages that are running and the PID numbers, who is the owner for that, and what is that CPU percentage right now it is utilizing, what is the memory it is utilizing. Out of 109222 KB, it means that 2 GB, around 2 GB of memory, it is using only just 300 MB, and remaining 1.6 is free. And if you want to see how much disk utilized, there is a command called df-h. It will say your disk is divided with one partition called /dev/sda1. Okay, size out of 18 GB, 899 MB is used and 16 GB is available. It means that only 6% of your system is used. When you go to other partition is made 939 MB. Out of that 0 is used, 939 is free. There is another partition available that is made of 477 MB. Out of that 49 MB is used, 403 MB is free. This is how this information gives. If you want to see how much memory your system is using, there is a command called free space -m. You can see out of total there is an 1877 MB of memory. Out of 317 is used, 150 is free. This is through commands you are seeing it. Through the better way I suggested is top. The same thing you can see from here. Memory how much used in KBs. And what else, guys? You required? You just ask me. Okay. On CentOS, as on Windows, you'll have the native firewall, Windows firewall, right? In CentOS here there is a firewall called, okay, IP tables. You can see the status of IP tables, whether it is running. Service IP tables status. Yeah, it is running. It listed all the IP tables. See, again about IP tables you want to draw. I'll give you a better website. Just go through this also. Copy that link that I have pasted in chat. What else? Guys, this is how you start learning with Linux and start playing with Linux. You'll get some hands-on. Okay, and you can see the time is also 9:15. If you want anything, I'll share you on Linux documentations or anything required. I'll help you to some extent because okay. Is that okay? People who are not familiar with Linux, I hope this helped them.
Yeah, yes, bro. Replace doctor code with.
What about others? Sachin, Sandeep, and Raj.
Yes, Karthik.
Okay, guys, we'll meet up tomorrow. Back to AWS class. Okay, dealing with Linux systems. Done. Bye. Have a nice day.